All right, welcome to Trust Builders Network. It's our first Fabulous Friday in February 2013. Today we're going to have a presentation of how to get more from your marketing. Larry DeLegge and Alan Lee, and I'll let you guys take it from there.
Thank you, Lou. First of all, I'd just like to clarify that nowhere in my introduction did you hear the word marketing or anything like that. So it's certainly not my forte, but if there's someone in the room, if you feel like maybe you have experience in a certain area that we're covering, please speak up. If you don't have experience, keep quiet. No, just kidding. So, but yeah, I'm by far not an expert in this. I asked Lou a question, and he said, that's a great idea. You'll be doing our next meeting on that. So to start off with, I'd like to start with a quote from Henry Ford. And he said, the man who stops advertising, or in this case, maybe we could say marketing, in order to save money, is like the man who stops the clock in order to save time. So nobody in this room is going to be able to continue in business without new business. And to get that, you need to have some marketing or advertising. So what we want to do then for the next couple of minutes here is be able to walk away with something that's going to be meaningful. And so the packet that we've passed out, we're going to have some worksheets in there that you can fill out along the way. We want you to be able to leave this room again with something that you can implement. Is anybody familiar with the Rule of 72? Anybody know what that is? What is that?
How money compounds?
Yeah, basically it's how long it takes for your money to double. If you divide 72 by the interest rate that you're getting, the answer will be approximately how many years it will take for your money to double. But that's not the Rule of 72 we're talking about today. You are absolutely correct, though. The Rule of 72 that applies to today's meeting is if you walk out of these doors and don't implement something in the next 72 hours, you won't do it at all. So pick something today that you're going to implement in your business. We're going to give you lots of ideas. We're going to focus in on just a couple of them. Some are easier to implement than others. Some you may already be doing. But we want you to walk out with something that you can put into your practice and begin to work on in the next 72 hours. So keep that in mind. Zig Ziglar also said, if you don't know where you're going, any old road will get you there. So we don't want to be on any road just kind of wandering around. We want to be focused. We want to know where we're heading. And the more you focus in on a specific area or a specific type of client, the sharper that focus, the larger your market's going to become. So we can try to be a generalist and practice everything, or we can really get laser focused, and that's where things are going to become much clearer, and we're going to open up the doors as that specialist. So with that, Alan, I'd like you to step up and begin for us, please.
Okay. I think some of those quotes were quite interesting because they kind of set the scene for the introduction of some of the things that we wanted to talk about. When we said, okay, we're going to talk about marketing, it's like, wow, I mean, you can get a degree in marketing, you go to school in marketing, you've got lessons learned from the real life. And that is important that we cover. So let me start by saying we gave you the agenda in your handout. I'm just going to cover a couple of the first topics and we won't bore you. I'd like you to turn to this in your handout, please. Turn to this in your handout, because I know you can't see the little thing up front, right? You got this in your handout. So when we thought and we said, okay, what areas would we talk about? How can we improve your marketing? A lot of people will jump down to the red areas at the bottom. They're going to jump down and say, oh, I need to do online advertising. You know, I need to do trade show. I want to do email marketing. That's the red areas at the bottom. And that is absolutely part of marketing. But what we're going to talk about today is that's not where you start. Where you start is up at the top. You need to start up there and look at your competitors and think about your brand. Think about how you're going to distribute. Think about your pricing. You know, come up with some corporate colors and branding. You know, once you kind of get your high-level things described, like who's your target market and what is your real offer, like you know, what is your brand, what are you actually going to sell, why should they buy from you, the unique selling proposition. You know, once you get some of those established, then you can move down and say, oh, okay, well, let's do a website. Let's do, we'll pick our names. Let's pick some strategy that will allow us to implement this. And once you've done that, then you move down into, okay, now let's some action items. And we will be talking about some action things that we think everybody here can implement today. We're going to talk about LinkedIn. We're going to talk about doing some email advertising. We're going to talk about some practical things that we think you can do, anybody can do, whether they're small, medium, or large. You should be doing these things. We're going to talk about 5 key things we would like you to consider doing. And also, we've got an actual handout we want you to fill out as part of this. Part of this is going to be a workshop. We will stop talking. We will start a timer. We will give you a couple of minutes through this meeting to actually do something. And that does not mean check your phone or BlackBerry or go do something else. We want you to focus on trying to help this little marketing plan done so that when you walk out of here, you've got something that's actually a deliverable. So to get started with that, we had an idea. This is one thing that I've done in some of my talks around the country, and where I'm talking about CRM, and we're invited to talk about things. Sometimes we'll come in and talk about the lead generation process. And I was speaking to a group of dealers from all over the world that had come to Charleston, South Carolina, and did a little marketing audit, and I'm going to share that with you guys today. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to take a little test, but it's anonymous. This is for you, so we want you to answer some questions for you. And we're going to do that right now. When we're done, we're going to copy the answers to a separate sheet of paper. We're going to pass them in. Magically, they're going to be average, summed, quote unquote. It's going to be total. And then at the end, you'll find out what the group average was. And I can share with you what the national average is, because I've given this to a lot of people. So if you would, turn in your handout to the one that says Marketing Activity Audit. There's a place for you to type some notes, and there's some questions. So let me explain this. Take out your pen, and I want you to write on this piece of paper. Everybody does this, or I will yell at you. You have to participate. Helps everybody else. It's subjective. Don't get wound up about it. On a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to rate yourself. Scale of 1 to 10, rate yourself on each of these. The first 3 are list of customers, list of prospects, list of other contacts. So if you think about, well, do you have a list of your customers? Could you show me a list of your prospects? How about us? Are we in some list someplace? Your other contacts? I'm not a customer, maybe not a prospect yet. Maybe, but do you have a list? So maybe are they ranked? Like, are they good, bad, or ugly? Where are they? When did you meet them? Where are they referred by? Do you have any information on them? So just rate yourself on those 3 things. Scale of 1 to 10. You give yourself a 2 or a 10. Like, man, we're rock solid. We got this nailed. Question?
We've got 2 of those. So.
Yeah, the one that says pass it in, we're going to put your answers on, and you'll pass it in once you're done. The other one you're going to keep. So we're on the first one. You're going to fill in your answers. When we're done, you just copy them all with the other one that says pass it in, and then you'll pass it in. So the one we're working on here with notes and information, this is for you to keep. Nobody will see this but you. Good. So you can write anything you want on it. Number 4 is your website. I hope you have one for your business. If not, you're 0. But if you have one, how good is it? And good would mean it does something you want it to do, like generate leads, or generate referrals, or maybe it sells stuff. It's a cash register. Does it have a shopping cart in it? Or just at least people go to it and they see some things that show that you're a competitive, good company. Now we get into some kind of outbound stuff. Do you have marketing campaigns? Are you doing some kind of email or some kind of direct mail to generate new interest? This is a marketing campaign. Maybe we throw in some advertising there, something that's outbound, something you're doing. Are you doing any generation? Now, when those generate a lead, you paid for it. Maybe you went to a trade show or whatever, and you get a lead. Do you track that lead? For example, could you tell me over the last 3 years how many leads you had, who worked on them, whether or not they turned into business, and how much business came out of them? I would say most of you can't. Most people can't. It's like a simple question, like, man, I wish I had that information. Because man, you spend a lot of money on marketing probably. Those trade shows and email and salespeople and all these people spend a lot of money. It'd be kind of nice to know what happened. Probably preaching to the choir for some of you. And some of you say, well, I know I need it. I just haven't had time to do it. Jill does audits. She's shaking her head saying, yeah.
You're like singing to the choir.
You've done this, and she mentioned the magic word KPI, key performance indicator, like you pick some of the things you want to measure. So maybe you couldn't handle all those things about your leads, but do you at least have a list of them, like how many leads I got? I mean, that's a good start. If you just have a list of them, that gives you a 50% right there. Number 7 is tracking activity of your salespeople. How many leads, how many calls do they go on, first appointments? Are they visiting a bunch of people that buy all the time, or are they looking for new business? You know, what's going on? Do they have call lists that they can follow up on? Are they organized? Do they have lists of things that they're supposed to go after? You know, targets that they're going after? How organized are they? Are they doing a sales pipeline for you? This is huge for a lot of businesses. How many quotes did we do? Your business, what happened? Okay, so those are important things to track. And then I have one for social media on the bottom. In a marketing sense, are you involved? Do you have accounts on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn? Is there any, you know, if I looked at your social footprint, I typed in your company name, your name, would you show up? Are you there? That's your scale, 1 to 10. Where are you? So, just total those up if you would. You should be done by now. If you haven't, do it. Put them all in, total them up, and then we'd like you to copy them to page number 2. Page number 2 says, pass this in. It's not stapled. It's let this. That's the one you send in, right?
I'll take those if you want to just pass them this way.
So pass them down here. It's anonymous. We don't want to know who did them.
Yeah. So
So,
if you could put your name on yours, I want to know what yours does.
so you should not, you should not have to rip it. You should not have to rip it loose from this. You know, find the one that's loose. If anybody needs one, let me know. You can turn them face down if you want. You don't want everybody to see what you wrote. Turn them face down fast enough. Just a little marking on it. So we'll average these up and we'll give you a group average and make sure that they're on. Any questions on these? What rang to people's ears?
Say that again, Alan?
The
Oh,
leads,
what-
what happens
what-
to your leads?
How did this make sense to anybody? I'm looking for some feedback. You get to talk.
The website is, how do you read a website?
So let me ask 2 questions. Who rated themselves really high in one area? You know, I won't ask you, did you really excel at one area? I mean, some people had 1 or 2 they had really well at, which is I hope everybody did. And then people have 1 they just stuck at. You know, like, ooh, man, sure.
I have multiple stinkers.
Okay.
I feel humbled and ashamed.
Oh, man, I did that.
Mission accomplished.
You know, we see wide ranges of where people are. And we'll be talking about how to help improve that today. So I hope that was helpful for you. Okay, so next we're going to go into the 5 areas that we think we can key on that are practical. These are areas of B2B marketing in 2013. There you go first.
So a couple things that Alan mentioned. Again, if there's somebody in the room that you gave yourself a 10 on one of these things and you're extra strong on this point, please, you know, if we want to talk about that when we get back to this, what we're going to do is add up all these scores, get a group average, and kind of feel for where the group is high or low. Maybe you gave yourself a very low score and the rest of the group is high, or maybe one person is particularly high in that. Now you know who you can connect with and maybe do some work on your own business through that connection. So now we're going to look at the top 5 areas. Number 1 is, for my business has been built on referrals. And referrals are a great way to get leads, to get prospects, and they're quick to convert into clients because you already have a mutual trust. That's what basically this room is about, is, you know, if there's some referral networking that can go on, we already have somebody that is referring them to us, or we're referring to someone else, to someone that we trust. We'll get back to that a little bit about ways that we might be able to give referrals when we talk a little bit more about LinkedIn as well. But what can you do to get referrals? Anybody here have a great way of getting referrals?
Talk to happy clients and ask them.
That's a great way, yeah. What happens if you talk to a happy client and find out they're not as happy as you thought they were?
Didn't you have an opportunity to fix it?
That's right.
So you know about it.
So yeah, what's the alternative, right? You never knew they weren't happy, and
Right.
that's why you're not getting referrals. One of the things I like to do is ask the client, do you see the value in what we've done here? Yes. Okay. Then we'll talk about, is there anybody else that might have the same set of needs or something similar that we can help with? So that might be a good question for you to ask your existing clients. Are we bringing a value to the table? Do you see the value in what we've done? Anybody else that we might be able to do that for? That's a great way to get those.
Actually, you can
referrals.
show them a list of names too. Saying, I understand you do business with these people. Are there any people in those companies that you might suggest that we can help?
Yeah, there's a guy who makes my suits for me. And he came here to the office and he said, hey Larry, do you have a minute? And I said, sure, no problem. And he opens up his iPad And he went to my LinkedIn page, and he spun his iPad around and he said, who should I be talking to? A genius. This guy's good, you know? But yeah, that's a great way. Right there on LinkedIn is all the people that they know. And you really want to ask your clients that are your good clients, the ones that you want more of like that. Because sometimes it seems like the pain in the neck clients are always the ones who are sending you business, and it's more pain in the neck clients, the exact ones you don't want. You know? So you need to be able to focus in on that. You should let your clients know what you're looking for. That would be key. If you want a referral, explain what type of referral you're looking for. Another way might be to let everybody here in the group know what your typical client is, what you're looking for in a client, and then how you expect that referral to be made. In my business, someone will call up and say, hey, I gave my neighbor Joe your number. Maybe he'll call you. Think Joe's going to call? He's not calling me. So I prefer to have referrals, an introduction that's done with that referral. And if that's how you want to get a referral, let your clients know that's what you want. You want to have an introduction. Can you introduce me to your neighbor Joe? Is it all right if I call your neighbor Joe and tell him that we talked about it? That type of thing. Another, yes?
Well, actually, the first book is Building Strategic Alliance Partners, and that is building the people, finding out who the centers of influence are that sit alongside you in business and bring them in right with you. Because I can guarantee if you're not doing that, perhaps other vendors,
Someone else is.
consultants are. And I can guarantee I get inside of a company, that's the first thing I do, is I look to actually not just have myself in there, but who of my friends in business can I bring in. So I have less of a chance of being booted out, of a company. So spiderweb my way in there.
Very good. And collateral professionals. Chris did a great job this week, really working for me and helping me out. Chris, I appreciate that. But having other professionals that are in a similar line of work that might be able to benefit your existing clients, someone else who does something that can be done for those existing clients as well, that's a great way to continue to do that. Joel, we went to lunch. That's a great way to get referrals. Talk to a referral source, explain to them what you want for a good referral, what you expect to get in the way of referrals. And maybe bring your clients to lunch. Here's one that I've used. If you have someone who gives you a referral, so that my client refers me to neighbor Joe, I take my client and Joe to lunch. I don't say a word. They both know why they're there. And they both know that if they want another free lunch, just give me another client. It's very simple. You don't have to say anything. But if you do get a referral from somebody, be sure to thank that referral source. And there's no better way to do it than to get the referral source and the referral together at lunch.
The worst thing that can actually happen is when you get the thank you from the other person. If I've sent the referral to you and I get the thank you from her, not you, that's an easy way to lose referrals. And never ever forget where you got your people and where you met people.
Yeah. So be sure
Which
to do
in the
that.
world of ACT, there's a field that you can actually, fill in so you can have it referred by. So to actually support the CRM system in this way, every time that contact pops in, the name is right there.
Yeah. So don't forget your referral sources, and there's certainly great ways to do that. I'm sure there's lots of great ideas just in this room on how to do that. But referrals for us, we listed that first because I think that's one of the best ways to get new clients. So, all right, Alan, we're going to have you talk about websites. Craig, this one's for you.
Thank you.
So back on the chart we started out, the big plan is business plan. You got your business plan, your resources, your budgets, part of that plan is the marketing plan. And part of that is, okay, who are we selling to, where we're going, and one of these things that you want to pull out of this, in this case it's the gray dot in the middle, it's that middle level layer of marketing is the website. It's a key component. It's the brochure. It's got your marketing information. It should have your unique selling proposition. It should have your why they should do business with you. It should have the information that a customer can come to and look and find. Now, in the old days, it was a simple brochure. I think those are, that's 30% of it today. If you don't have at least that, come on, somebody like, are you for real? So assuming you have that, you know, the next level of the website is today's world, it really needs a refresh. You need a refresh on the website. You know, look at it anew, get some new information, have the current look. But the big thing we've seen changed is that you need some video. I think that you really need some video on there too, so that it's more interactive. You do have to have a goal for the website. You know, is it to generate leads, or is it to, when people look at you and they meet you and they go check you out, do you want something there to substantiate you? You know, what's it really
You
for?
can't do both, right?
No,
Gotta
I
be
can
one or the
definitely do
other.
both. Good question. I know. I think most of the
An
time
impression
it
is
should
an
be both.
impression. I mean, can you give them 2 impressions at the same time?
You know, the idea would be that in business-to-business marketing, if people are searching for your specialty in your location, they might find you in a search. If they've got pain or problem, recycling. You know, if I need to recycle, I'm going to type in recycling. I'm going to find his deal. You know, if I type in I need insurance, you know, should your name come up? It's a pretty broad term. But if I typed in something more of your specialty, maybe I would find your particular website, which is what you want. You can't do search engine optimization, SEO, for insurance. But I could do,
Like horse insurance, if I just did insurance for horses.
yeah, insure
that
your
would be
horse.
great. People type in, horse insurance, and I'd be like the top one.
Top order.
I have no idea if he's making fun of me or not. I guess well, I'm sure if horse costs $250,000, I definitely want it insured. That's for sure. So yeah, no, there's definitely got to be horse insurance out there. So I wasn't sure if he's pulling my leg or not.
Semi.
So good point. So for websites, SEO, search engine optimization, you can either learn it yourself or understand a little bit about it, but basically you have to have some keywords that you want to rank in, you know, so that people type those words into Google, then your name comes up. That's called organic search. 80% of the people that do a search, they click there. That's the free stuff that comes up. 20% of the people that type in horse insurance, they're going to look at the ads, and it's going to have this cool ad that says, best horse insurance at the lowest price, or whatever. That's a paid ad, pay-per-click. They're going to click on that. That's pay-per-click. That's search engine marketing, SEM. And if you want to get into that, that's a quick way to spend a lot of money. And it's okay if you're getting leads that are converted into sales. It's not okay if you're just buying clicks. You got to be real careful. It's a great way to experiment. You can turn it on for a week, turn it off. You don't have to leave it on forever. So you can experiment with that. So the web thing is very important, good tool, should be dynamic, it's an important part of the marketing mix. Everybody should start there as a base.
Alan, one thing is, it's a very cheap way to get SEO'd, is create your website, convert it to a mobile website. Every website I have is a mobile website. And you can do it through Dudamobile or GoMobi.com. Some of them are free. And so it makes it very user-friendly on a smartphone.
I'll piggyback on that. That 30% of all web traffic today is to the mobile phone.
Right.
So if you don't have a mobile website, you're missing 30% of your traffic via mobile.
Yeah.
And that number is growing like crazy.
And you know, the iPads, add into that, so you know, there's a lot going on. So you want your site, a fresh, new site that's definitely mobile compatible. Thanks for mentioning that, guys.
I'm going to add something.
And understand that's a little different. The technologists can help you with that.
On the search engine optimization, one of the guys who's not here is Steve Cherasuelo, and that's what his company does, is search engine optimization. So he's right there on the sheets that you have for Trust Builders Network, and you could give him a call.
Thanks.
I was going to pull up my LinkedIn page.
You want the mouse? Want me to bring it up for you while you're talking?
Sure. Okay, so next is, we've been talking a little bit around, kind of dancing around the issue, but LinkedIn. Everybody here is on LinkedIn, is that right? Hopefully everybody's on LinkedIn. It's not a social media site, it's not Facebook, it's kind of like Facebook for adults, Facebook for professionals, but you're not going to go on there and say, hey, I'm going to the movies tonight. It's not that type of site. It's basically a free, all about you website. I think maybe some of us, me included, we're not using it to its full potential, what we could be using it for. So if we have an all about you free website, why not use it? It'll also allow us to do drip mail, and I'll explain how that'll happen, but it's a free drip mail campaign. So what we want to do on there, number one, get on LinkedIn if you're not on there already, create a profile. And the first thing you're going to see is that your profile will have a level of completeness. It'll say it's 20% complete. And it'll give you tips on how to get 100% complete. That should be your next goal. Get your profile up to 100% complete. Adding past education, past jobs, your picture, things like that will help build that completeness of that profile. So once you're complete, you can begin, and even before you're complete, you can begin, by the way, this is a good point too. Alan mentioned if your clients or prospects want to Google you or they want to start looking for you, what are they going to find first? Go home and Google yourself.
See your LinkedIn page here? I'm just looking at.
No, it's in there, probably in there somewhere. Usually it's one of the first ones that comes up. Whoa! Good grief. How about if you just go to LinkedIn and do it?
Okay.
I didn't show up on LinkedIn.
Or just
that
put
low.
LinkedIn on as
There you
another keyword.
But Google yourself and see what comes up, because that's what's going to happen when potential clients do that. You want to make sure that you're able to control what's going on there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, again, you want to be able to see your profile be about 100% complete, because that's all going to add to your drip mail campaign. And what I mean by that is, first we're going to get on there, we're going to start making connections, you're going to connect with other people. Maybe you should have some measurable goals. We talked about referral marketing. If you're going to take somebody to lunch, have a measurable goal. I want to have 25, 50 new people that I take to lunch this year. New referral sources or new potential clients. And when we're talking about LinkedIn, what do you think a goal might be for number of connections on LinkedIn? It's not a competition, it's a goal. What do you think? Anybody have a goal set? Anybody want to get to a certain point?
I add 2 new people a month.
2 a month? Okay. My first goal was to get 500 connections. I know 500 people. I know 20 right here in this room. So you should be at least 18 more this month.
I'm way over 500, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Right, you're continually growing, right? Continually, and so what we're talking about is kind of casting that web. Somebody said that. I think it might have been here. So we're casting that web, and now when we do a drip mail, it's going to go out to all of these LinkedIn contacts. And here's what the drip mail is. You have to make sure your picture's up there on LinkedIn, because anytime you make a change on LinkedIn, you connect with somebody new, you add a skill, you add experience, you add a past job, you join a group. Anytime you make a change on LinkedIn, once a week, LinkedIn will send that change with your picture to everybody you're connected to. Make one change per week, and they're going to see your face every week, like it or not. So try and do that. It's a free drip mail. Where else are you going to get your face in front of your clients and your prospects once a week? Is everybody going to open up that email from LinkedIn that says, Craig got a new experience or a new skill set this week? Probably not. But he's got a much better chance than he had otherwise. You're not doing a mailing with your picture on it every week, are you? No, not at all. So it's inexpensive. It's a great way to get in front of folks. I also thought about this group. We have a specific group on LinkedIn just for the Trust Builders Network. Once we're all connected on there, I think there's a couple stragglers yet that aren't on there, but once we're all connected on LinkedIn, I envision being able to go on there and say, hey, I'm looking for a good CPA. Does anybody know one? And I would expect to get a couple of answers. Yeah, that point this direction. Or, before I take a big step in my business, I'm looking to do some yellow page ads. Anything I should know? Okay, then I can get some feedback from the group, and we can really help support each other other than the once a month. This is going to help bring this together, a lot quicker, a lot faster, and much more effectively. So we want to look at doing that, making those connections, joining the group, interacting with each other, other than waiting for every 30 days to be able to get together. So again, LinkedIn's got lots of potential. I don't think we're really tapping into here in this group.
Something I did in Trust Builders, Trust Company, is LinkedInWorkshops.com is my website, and I've trained on it internationally, but if you have employees, branding yourself in LinkedIn so that message is consistent throughout your organization. It's a marketing tool. You need a consistent message. Brand confusion causes people to move away. So LinkedIn is another place to actually brand an organization on LinkedIn. It's free. It's like having a second company website.
Lou, thanks again for putting me up here when we got someone who trained internationally on LinkedIn.
I'm
Appreciate
sorry.
that.
It's important to have your company LinkedIn page also.
Yeah.
I agree. Right.
Yeah.
And not just all of your
Well,
individual
how
pages.
Greg is positioned versus how you are positioned versus how Brandy is positioned is very different.
Yeah.
But all is the same message.
Okay, so we're all going to do a better job on LinkedIn. I'm used to LinkedIn. I wasn't signed in as me, so you get a different experience when you just go to the website out of the Balloon Plus. I use Axe primarily on my desktop, so every time one of you call me, your name pops up on the screen and your LinkedIn comes up. So a lot of that stuff's integrated, so it works nicely. So
Very
old school, I got to actually type it in. I'm like, okay, how do I do this? Thanks for your help in helping me find Larry's as this came up. So I want to go on to the next topic, which is a little bit about inbound versus outbound.
236.
I can get our presentation back.
It's not a good sign to get in early.
How about you?
So if you think about the inbound versus outbound as our next topic, what comes to mind? Do you have an idea of what I was thinking of when we said that? It's an interesting topic that has been in quite a bit of marketing things lately, this inbound versus outbound. Guy Kawasaki from Apple, Macintosh, venture capitalist guy, kind of Apple fellow now. He said, if you've got more money than brains, then do outbound marketing. But if you've got more brains than money, you want to do inbound marketing. Like, okay, well, I think I'll pay attention to this. What's that all about? What's going on today is a lot of people do a lot of outbound stuff, more traditional marketing. And a lot of you, if I say, what's your marketing plan? You're going to talk about traditional stuff. And that's okay, but you also need to be thinking about the newer inbound marketing stuff, which is a little bit newer and different. And maybe the budget or time of both your money and your time, you might shift some this year to less traditional outbound and more to the inbound side. The outbound side is going to be direct mail, sending out postcards, letters, attending a trade show. It's going to be, could be email marketing if you're going to cold calls. Could be telemarketing. Could be your outside salespeople making cold calls. I mean, those are all traditional. If I said, how are you going to go to market? What are you going to do? You got a new job? How are you going to go to market?
Right.
Phone call people, network.
All of the above.
So don't knock on doors, right? That's outbound. Well, wouldn't it be nice if your phone was ringing a lot and people were coming to you saying, I need your stuff, or I have a question about your stuff. Tell me about your stuff. And boy, that's a lot nicer. Inbound. And from your side, think how you think. Anybody here fast forward through commercials on TV? Have a spam blocker? Have somebody that answers your phone so you don't have to talk to those stinking salespeople? But Cal, if I called you, would I have to get through a gatekeeper?
Absolutely.
Maybe? Absolutely, right? He's got his gatekeeper. I want to talk to those
Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to get anything done. It would
No.
be all day long.
Yeah, well, these stinking salespeople. Interrupted me. So, to market to people, I want them to, when they want something, I want them to find me. So, number one thing about inbound marketing is get found. When people want you, they find you. And then maybe they kind of react, and then they start a relationship, a conversation. So we're going to have this conversation about things we're interested in mutually, back and forth, through email, through blog, maybe you read my thoughts or whatever, and you kind of get to know me or vice versa. And then finally, maybe down the road, you raise your hand, I want to talk to you about your stuff. And that happens down the road somewhere. So that's this whole idea about inbound, outbound. And we're going to be talking a little bit more in the next section about you picking some inbound things that you can do and how those could relate. One of the important things that we talked about already is doing a better job on the website. In addition to that, one of the number one things you can do is build a following on LinkedIn and start posting answers to questions, status updates on things you're doing. I attended this thing, I did this. It's basically you have to, here's the magic word, you have to create some content online that is not you selling your stuff. it's about interesting content that people would want to read.
Al, what technology exists that when someone comes to look at my stuff, I know it, and then I can send them more stuff related to that topic? I was recently doing some research on McKinsey Quarterly, and I was doing some research, and magically, the next morning, additional articles came through the pipe, and it was amazing that I had just gone on there. I must have left some fingerprints, and they knew to send me more stuff. And when I opened that stuff and looked at that stuff, they sent me more stuff. And it's amazing. And they don't know who I am, but they're sending me stuff that is very relevant to what I'm doing. It's spooky. But I want to send my stuff out to people that look at my stuff.
The best one I know of that we can afford, everybody at this table can afford, is these panel ads. There's a technology, I'm actually forgetting the exact name of it. It's a panel ad, a 2x2 ad that you can purchase in a co-op. But the technology behind it is really, it's different than pay-per-click. You're paying to expose people to things, and what happens is, if you came to my site, I put a cookie on your machine.
Yeah.
And then when you go to another site that's participating in my group, the ads will be presented to you.
This isn't ads, though, Al. No, I'm not talking about ads. This is seamless.
So that's the one I know of that you actually can, for $500 a month, we can actually do. And that is kind of creepy, though. It's kind of creepy. You go to a website, and then 5 minutes later, you're on another website, and you start seeing ads about the previous one.
It's not ads.
Let me tell you, when I go...
Email.
It's not ads.
Well,
it's good content. It's content. I'm not talking about ads.
So I refer my clients to zoominfo.com, and it's a monthly fee, and you can actually see who, you just go in on a daily basis, or you get an email reminder by region who came in to your site, and then you have their URL, and in some cases you can actually see who the person is. So then you can actually go back and contact them and send them information. So
I think you want to be careful about that. You want to nurture that lead. You want them to be pulling you without going and approaching them. So you want to establish that relationship. So I just don't want to go after them just because they hit my website. I want to wait until the hook is deeply embedded.
Just then kind of store the information and,
Exactly.
so.
well, they say
So
kind
Zoom
of technology.
info, would that present an email? Would that present something? I don't remember.
It's more URL. It's
It's IP address?
Yeah, it's more IP address. It's the same concept of, so in a lot of the CRM that I recommend for our clients, if we do a email campaign, we always have them call the ones that have opened the email before calling the other. It's the same technology, and so you understand it a ton better than I do. But
and how many times you open it up to?
you can see it. So, but the upside is on the Zoom info, we used it. So I was doing a big transportation company for that one, and so we could see who went to our website. Because it's big companies that we're going after, this transportation company. So, and then we would just call them, and on a daily basis, the telesales team would call those leads.
Okay.
So it's interesting. I don't know of any way. I'd be really interested to find out if there's some way that I know of none where you visit a website and the next day you got an email from them. I don't know of any way that you can do that.
We didn't get the email
so
address.
So I don't know how that would happen.
You didn't put in any information in it?
Well, I'm pursuing that with someone who says he can help me do it at a reasonable cost, and that's why I was curious, because I haven't met him yet. But I explained this little story to him, and he said, oh, I can help you with that. And so I'm intrigued, because that changes everything for me as a business.
Perhaps
Let
our
us all
Steve
know.
can help you with that on the SEO side. If he has SEO ability, I would
If our
not
Steve
doubt
can do it, that'd be great.
Yes, I would not doubt.
And I'll let you know when I find out how expensive it is. He says I can afford it.
Yeah, I've looked into and done some with the ads. Not where finding somebody's email. That's a lot trickier.
Yeah.
And so then you get into.
But no, wait a second. Just to be clear, it's not for him to get my email to pursue me. This is nurturing. This is nurturing a lead so that he's drawing in, and then he becomes an inbound lead to me. I don't expect McKinsey Quarterly to contact me to try to sell me something. They're trying to lure me in, so I'm going to get added services on the McKinsey Quarterly. That's the genius of this. It's not for somebody to make a telephone call, because you've ruined it. If you try to get you, and your gatekeepers block them out, they want you to contact them to your inbound lead issue.
So what I'm saying is, and I thought you said was, you went to a website, the next day you got an email from them.
I got content.
You email?
Yeah, I
You
got
got
email content. Nobody
so-
called me,
And
nobody
you'd
asked
already
me.
signed in.
So what I'm saying is, I know of no way to do that, unless you gave them your information.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to,
He
if
has.
you just visit
I'm
them,
subscriber to McKinney Quarterly, so
Right.
that's
then they
how.
know who you are. That's a whole other
Right.
story.
They do know who I am, but I'm just saying that I didn't tell them that I was interested in that topic.
They
Other
know
than
who
when
you
you
are.
searched it,
They know you are. If you subscribe, they know your IP address, they got cookies on your machine, they know who you are. They know every time you visit them, how many times you click and what you did.
Okay.
So does Google. You know, these people track that. Once you identify yourself, they keep a trail of all your stuff that you do.
Okay.
Unless you use some sophisticated cloaking techniques. And, you know,
Or you get off Google and go to duckduckgo.com. There's no, they have no information, they keep no information. It's called, I know, it's
They'll be out of
stupid
business
name,
next week.
DuckDuckGo. No, they've been around a lot. Attorneys use them a lot, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, you
There's
have to
no
be really
trails.
careful. You hear about these things all the time where, oh, I thought one of our Atreus, I believe, got nailed on Gmail because of IP addresses being left in various places. Oh, they were in a hotel at a certain time, certain things went on. You leave a pretty broad trail as you go.
I found out about DuckDuckGo from an attorney, the
Very
client,
careful
so.
about what you do. Look up Onion Router, and you can also put your browser into no tracking. What's it called when you click your browser into no history?
Incognito.
Stealth mode, incognito. That'll stop it on your local machine, but if you want to not be tracked through otherwise, you need to use the Onion Router. That's what they do, if you're living in Iraq, on the Onion Router. You don't know where in the world you'll pop out, it's an IP address. Okay. We're going to shift gears. This is the workshop part of the program. This is where, okay, we kind of talked about some cool things, turning your hand out to the 2013 marketing page summary. This is the one-page marketing sum that we want to just let you think about a couple of things at this point. The next 10 or 15 minutes, we're going to spend the rest of our time going through this one-page summary. Marketing plans, you can Google it if you wanted to. You could go out there and Google marketing plan template, and you'll get tons of marketing plans. You want to do a business plan, do a business plan template. There's all kinds of books written on it. Here's a traditional outline. Executive summary, the challenge, situation, 4 pieces of marketing, set, blah, 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 blah. Okay, you could write 20, 30 pages on this, and you might need to if you're going to try to get venture capital. But if you're just in your business and you're the chief marketing person and you just need to help yourself, this is really overkill. So what we want to do is talk about a simpler deal where for each of your segments, you do these 4 things. Define your target, describe your offer, your brand, what you're doing. Prioritize a few marketing activities for that particular segment, and then figure out how you're going to measure it. Set some SMART goals. We'll talk about those. But you may have more than one segment. This morning I'd like you to pick one segment of your business that you need to market. And you may only have one, but you might have split personalities. David has 3.
Personalities or 3 markets?
Is it, oh, yeah,
yes.
well, that,
In multiple
You're
directions.
currently at 3 at holding, right? So I'm
Yeah,
worse.
more.
I met with him for lunch and I said, I'm worse than you. I've got 4 at holding. So we went through 4. It's like, oh my goodness. So you had to have 4 different plans because you have 4 different things going on. They're so different. But, so pick one if you would. Write the name of it at the top. The name of the segment that you want to go through. Write it in. I want you to do this. This is real life. Come on, do it.
To get examples or what?
Yours could be horse insurance.
Or-
It could be disability insurance, could be insurance to business, could be maybe you think in personal, maybe you could target a segment, would be some area of your business that's a segment you want to go after and sell more of. Okay? Maybe you have a small manufacturing business on the side, you're manufacturing plush toys
So
from
like
China.
a niche you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Which segment?
Or it could be,
Which segment is trying to
and if you'd like, you can do your whole business. Maybe you just say, hey, this is my insurance practice, I'm just doing my practice. That's fine too. If you've got one major focus, if you are lucky enough to have one major focus, Joe, you're a banking guy, he's got one major focus, right? I need banking customers, right? So this is easy. The next one is where you give it a description. Okay, what is it and what's my geography target? Traditional marketers like this, they say, well, I'm targeting businesses with Lou. Lou's is pretty good. He says clearly, I want 50 to 100 desktops, right, Lou?
20 to 50, 50 to 100.
You know, so, and he wants them in within a geographical area. What's your focus?
Chicago, west suburbs, north suburbs.
You know, so boom, this is where I'm focused. Now that doesn't mean if somebody calls him up from a little further out, he wouldn't consider them, but he's not marketing to them. This is where you want to market to, not where you'll serve, where you're going to target your market. And there's other ways you can segment the market if you want to be more complicated. These are the basics. You know, just, hey, what is it? Where are they? So then you go on to number 3. What's your brand? What's your offer? How do you describe your unique selling proposition? What is your pricing? Are you going to discount? Are you going to go through other people? You know, do you sell, if you're a consultant, are you doing hourly? Are you doing blocks of time? Or are you doing projects? If you're an insurance, are you, you selling high-end, high service, or low-end, low service, low margin? I'm not sure how I'd segment that, but you come up with some ideas of pricing and how you go after those. Traditional marketing really comes up with the 4 Ps: product, place, promotion, and place. You know, so they're the 4 Ps.
I think there's a new 5th one, participation.
That's kind of interesting. I've heard a 5th a couple of times on different ones people have done. Participation.
Jill, how do you mean?
How would you define it?
Well, I mean, because like literally, anytime you turn around now, you're pulling people in to participate in your business. Look at all the social media aspects. That whole concept. I mean, I went to the new memorial, the 9/11 memorial in New York City, and it's designed for participation. You want to touch the water. They've designed everything. A lot of things in life now are about us participating.
Right.
So
Look where we're at right now. We're participating.
so
You're talking about customers participating.
Everything, yeah. So I teach a class at Creighton University, and obviously I'm with a lot of PhD. I only have an MBA, so I'm with these PhDs in marketing, and we are forever arguing because they cannot overcome my objections in regards to there is a P for almost every business. We have a participation now. So it's in our websites. We have white flash, or the white boxes. We have everywhere we go. There's participation now because we're all engaged.
It's interactive.
Yeah, thank you. That was the word I was.
Okay, sorry.
Fine.
Off my soapbox.
So you may want to think about if you can add that into your marketing brand or offer, your unique selling proposition. If I went around the room and asked you what's your unique selling USP, it's a great thing to Google to think about. Why are you different? Why should I do business with you? That's a really good exercise to go through. We're not going to go through it. We could do a whole lesson on it, a whole session on it, but that's, if you don't have it, then you kind of guess and then come back to it. And then, you've got some color, branding, logo, and messaging ideas. Do you have them? Do you need to work on them? You don't want different colors in everything you do. You don't want different images in everything you're doing. Your message, you need a kind of clear description. It's the same when you throw it on the website, put it in emails, put it in letters. You want the same blocks of text that describe your stuff that you're trying to get across, which includes some keywords that you're trying to do SEO on, which includes your unique selling proposition. It includes those kind of things. So you get some blocks of text and messaging down. So that's real important. If you don't have that, if you do it, you identify, and you start to kind of work through what some of that is. And then number 4 is marketing activities. Okay, so we went through some stuff this morning. If you only had 1 or 2 things you could do for marketing, what would you do? What marketing activities? Now, if you're not going to do them, maybe you're going to sign off on a budget for them. So the question is, where are you going to put your time, or where are you going to put your money? So who here would like to volunteer some marketing activities they've heard about, thought about, that they might want to include? Yes.
We're kind of contemplating doing an SEO project.
An SEO project to improve your website.
Yes.
Right?
And I, as the CFO, am like, I can't believe we're spending this much money on this. Is this really going to move us anywhere, do anything for us? And so I haven't seen the presentation personally, but they're very adamant that yes, this will pay for itself.
Search engine
Everyone does that.
optimization definitely will generate traffic typically. You can measure exactly how much traffic it produces. The harder thing is it good traffic or not?
Right.
And then, okay, if it is good traffic, did it turn into leads and did that turn into business? Because a little bit of traffic that turns into business, I like.
Yeah.
Lots of traffic that turns into no business is a waste of my time, right? Or maybe even worse, maybe sucks me into, drags me away from photography.
Or you lack the systems to handle the influx of traffic. And the failure is not on the SEO side, but actually on the ability for your sales professionals,
Follow.
marketing
Yeah,
people.
great point.
Your systems, are your systems ready? I actually walked away from a huge deal in terms of sales coaching because the infrastructure of the company was not there to be able to handle the influx of business. And it would have imploded the company, basically.
Does anybody here derive their business primarily from the internet?
I have clients that do.
Yeah. That seems to be a tricky proposition. Just wonder if anybody's here.
But that's to the point of thinking about actually building from the top down, because in the top down, you should find your weaknesses in your process. As opposed to top up, generally, you gotta be able to deliver what you're selling.
It can be especially tricky in financial services when you're looking for a client relationship, not a transactional one.
Yeah, it is a relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think all of our businesses are relationship based.
So then finally, you picked out a few marketing activities, hope you've written some down. I think if you're doing direct mail, you're spending money on mailings, fine. But I think maybe you're going to spend some money on some email marketing, maybe some SEO, maybe some time and effort on some social media stuff. Okay, fine, we're going to get connected. A lot of times people who build up a big LinkedIn connection list, they're not doing it themselves. They've got an assistant or somebody that's cranking through and making those connection requests. And, okay, fine, give me 1,000 connections that are qualified, good people in my industry that I need to be connected to. And they'll sit there and they'll do it for you. There's no problem. We can outsource that. But then you have to put some content in there so that your name goes out to those people. But that can be like when you change your photograph. You add something to your profile. You get it connected in a group. You don't have to actually type in something that makes sense. Do something.
Or you can connect your Twitter feed, and then you'll be there every day.
Assuming you do a tweet.
Okay.
I bet only.
I'm not tweeting.
Okay, anybody here send out tweets?
I have a marketing person that tweets for me.
So anybody else?
My log entries automatically go
Yeah.
into tweets.
I do one a week probably, and then that goes out to everything else. So one of the big points about inbound marketing is create content and publish everywhere.
Yeah.
Create content, get it all out there. LinkedIn, put it in a tweet.
Well, that's
put it
where
on Twitter.
Hootsuite
So,
comes into place.
Boom, get it out there.
Do you have an opinion on Pinterest? I just went to a seminar this last week, and I'm
Um,
anti-Pinterest, but I always like to hear.
Yeah. I would
What-
highly
what
recommend
is-
the
what is
website.
it? What is it?
Oh, well, if you have kids, they know about it. They'll show it to you.
I have kids, I still don't know about it.
Okay.
My wife showed it to me, so she's into it. Pinterest is probably 80–90% female at this point.
Yep, 80, yeah.
It's really high female content, and it can pin things on a board. So you find, oh man, look at this. What's your favorite car when you drive the hot roast?
Viper.
Viper. Oh man, you find a picture of a Viper and you pin that on your board. Say, oh, look at this cool Viper shot. You pin it, or you go on a website about Rocky Mountain. You pin it. You pin things, recipes. You pin them. And then what happens is you friend people, and you see what they're pinning. So it's this feed of basically sharing web content with each other is my definition of how it works.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, HubSpot is an inbound, outbound marketing firm. I highly recommend you guys check it out. If you're interested in learning about social media, inbound, outbound marketing, go to HubSpot. You can read some of the free stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to invest some time, they've got an 18-lesson inbound, outbound marketing course you can take for free. It's 18 webinars, about an hour each, very in detail. Got some very interesting speakers, Vice President of Constant Contact, web analytics. Nice course, so you can take that. last year, I heard them speak, and they were talking about it, and they did not have Pinterest on their survey. Pinterest.
It's there now.
It was not on their survey last year, but then this year they've added it.
Yeah.
And the idea is that it's the up-and-coming thing. It's the difficulty of how to monetize or use it. My take on it is this. You ask, today I would highly recommend it for anybody that's doing any kind of B2C marketing.
Yeah.
And if you're doing B2B, I wouldn't even look at it.
You would, okay.
B2B is not really, into Pinterest at this point. And by the way, similarly for me is still Facebook. I mean, I have Facebook for business, and it's huge, things are happening, but it's a lower priority and a lower return on investment than LinkedIn. LinkedIn's first. Get that down before you think about other things in terms of those.
Well, you can apply so much from LinkedIn onto your Facebook page, so master the LinkedIn and then transfer it onto your Facebook page. I mean, again, to the branding aspect of it, get one right and then blend.
Develop content, have content, publish everywhere, same stuff.
Okay.
If
the
anybody,
way you wanna do it.
if anyone is LinkedIn stuck, challenged, whatever that case is, we have a direct access to J.D. Gershbein, who is the LinkedIn guru. He's on Fox News. He's on Channel 9 News as the social media expert, and I talk to him all the time. He's produced my own LinkedIn webpage, as well as he does corporate speaking engagements on LinkedIn. So if anybody is saying, I want to learn more about LinkedIn, Mary also does a lot with LinkedIn, Mary Erlane right here. So we've got two references right there that you can talk to. I know Mary's done a lot of work too. So grab either one of them. Grab me for JD or grab Mary for Mary, and she can tell you all about LinkedIn also. So we got two right here in the room that could be considered experts.
Last one, there's SMART goals. Just make them, measurable. You want to make your goals, the things that people can do, and write some down that are particularly measurable. They've got to be attainable, realistic, timely, but specific goals. I'll get so many leads within this time frame. Be specific and get your key performance indicators down. Hope you've got something out of that. Now, we wanted to share the results of the survey with everybody. Larry, could you tell us what those are? You're going to write them up there for us?
Yeah, so on your sheet that you kept in your packet, there's another line for the group results.
Write this down. It's on the right column. This is on your sheet. You can write down the averages.
And I'm just going to write them so we don't have to go back through them in case somebody didn't hear.
Family Feud, yes, survey says.
Survey said. Okay, so the group average for number 1 was 9, list of customers. So we're pretty confident in that area. Group average for list of prospects was 7. List of other contacts, 7. A good website, 7. Marketing campaign, email or direct mail. The group as a whole fell down, 4. So we have some work to do there. Lou, this might be a nice area for future events. Number 6, tracking system for leads. Right in the middle, we're exactly average with a 5.
Larry, could you stand on the other side?
Sure.
Thanks.
Then we're looking for a tracking system for sales activity. As a group, we were a 6. Phone call follow-up. Numbers, I'm sorry, that was number 8. We were actually a 7 for that. No, we're 6, I'm sorry. Sales forecast, pipeline, we were a 7. And then social media, we're a 6. Our group average then was about 61. 61 out of 100. Definitely some areas to work on. Our high score today was 96. I think that was Joe. He left. He was all
I know.
Well, we didn't want to point any fingers, but thanks for mentioning. No, just kidding. Our low was 24. So, of course, these are subjective numbers, right? It's how we perceive ourselves in these areas. So we're looking for an honest assessment. But what we were hoping by this exercise is that, again, we can identify maybe some areas as a group were really good or really bad. And maybe if there's a number up here, maybe if there's a 9 up here and you rank yourself a 1, you're sitting in the right place because you're among people who think that they're really good at this. So, rub shoulders with that. If you were a 10 for number 5, you can probably help the rest of the group out. You can help us out in helping us to figure out how to do that, how to get that email campaign up and running.
Was anybody at 10? Number 5?
Anybody want to admit to it? No? Okay.
What was number 5?
Number 5 was the email campaign.
Oh,
This is marketing campaign, email.
yeah.
direct mail.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, we have a
There's
very
the answer.
specific marketing, I mean, I have 2 people that just
A
do
simple
marketing.
yes or
That's all
no
they
will
do.
suffice.
Sorry.
Yes,
Sorry.
you're
Oh,
at
that's
10.
good. So, I mean, we have somebody in the room who's going to be able to help out with that. If you were,
Sorry.
clearly, if she was a 10, some of us ranked ourselves a 1, 2, or a 3. So, that's probably our weakest link as a group, and it's not surprising. So take a look at this. We're just hoping that by being able to look at these numbers and say, hey, I think we're sharp here, or we might be weak in one place or another, especially if it contrasts or it deviates very far from the rest of the group, then we should have a pretty good idea of where we're at. So I would like to just take a moment to thank Alan for volunteering to help me with this.
Thank you.
Once he was roped in. Thank you. Did you want to say a couple last words?
Yeah, the national average on that is 67, so it's a little around the 70s where people typically have been ranking themselves. So kind of takeaway, write down these, pick something you want to work on, and we would like you to think about finding something within 72 hours. Actually pick something marketing-wise, work on the plan, this will really make a difference. We hope that this hands-on workshop has been helpful. If you guys have any closing questions, we're going to wrap up in the next 1 minute, so any closing comments?
Alan, you get the chance to work with a lot of companies regarding marketing, this topic. What are you seeing going down that list that we've got there that most people are doing successfully from a quantitative standpoint? For example, their websites are the best, their email marketing is the best. Anything that stands out in your mind like this is the easy way or this is the best way? Or Debbie was mentioning, I'm spending a lot of money, what the heck results am I going to get? Where do you see the
Great
biggest
question.
bang for the buck?
Well, one of the best things we can do is tell you things not to do. Trade shows, very expensive. You got to rethink some things not to do, and that can definitely be a good place to start. And then have some plan that says, stay away from pay-per-click unless you really have a good way to measure it. But I think having some performance indicators and measuring is this thing I see more of today that can make a lot of difference. Larry started out at the very beginning. He says, if you don't measure, if you don't have a plan, if you don't have a goal, then you don't know where you're going. So I think the people that are being more effective are the ones that set a goal and then measure and try to get there and then say, okay, where next? So if you're trying to generate leads, how many are you getting? How do they turn into? Let's try to improve that.
If you want to turn it up another third, get an accountability partner. Because we can talk ourselves into all kinds of stuff.
That's
but
true.
if you got to look at somebody else and report to them, then who will literally hold your feet to the fire. But literally, there's a study I have that if you want to turn your goals up by 30%, have an accountability.
That's why I'm married.
And it's not your spouse.
With that being said, before we go to left field, Average Trust Builders Network for February. Thank both of these guys for doing a great job. Great treats. Thank everybody for coming. It's 9 o'clock. Feel free to grab whoever you need to talk to, or you've got phone numbers here. And for the 2 new people, if you could give me a call, Jill or Cal, sometime during the day, and get a moment to tell us what you thought, that would be appreciated. Thank you so much.
All right,
Thanks, Lou.
Very good.
Thanks for doing that. Thanks for the
Nice.